Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger. My friends, we are here with another edition of the Guilty Gear Strive Developer's Backyard. It's been a while. The last one of these was actually the beginning of August, so it's been a hot minute. But you know what? There's actually a lot of fun little goodies in this one here, talking about DLC, patching, and also some character popularity polls. So one of the things out of gate here discussed in this edition of the Developer's Backyard is it looks like that Strive has now moved 2.5 million units. Now I know in the grand scheme of things, compared to that like Call of Duty or Mortal Kombat, that's not a lot, especially because, you know, it's taken about 2.5 years. But for Arc System Works, that's huge. Like, for comparison, if you look at like, say, older Guilty Gear games, like the original revision of Exard sold like 100K lifetime. So compared to that to 2.5 million, yeah, Strive's doing pretty alright. It's definitely the biggest selling game in the franchise. To the point where there's no doubt in my mind it's outsold the rest of the franchise combined. So for a game that Arc System Works owns, you know, not like mercenary work like Dragon Ball FighterZ is, that's fantastic for them. Just good news. Now, moving on to Strive talk proper and Season 3 talk. You're probably well aware that when Season 3 started, some characters got all new moves, although not everyone did. But rest assured, everyone who hasn't gotten a new special move yet will be getting one. They're committed to making sure they're standing by the people who have played the originals since launch. Further adding, when adding new moves, our general philosophy is to ensure the difficulty level of the inputs needed to play each character remains more or less the same. For example, we plan to add simplified inputs to perform the follow-up moves for Giovanna's Chave move in a future update. Also talking just about naming conventions, they show an example here. So May has a new move as of the Season 3 update, and they had over 30 names before kind of finalizing on what they went for. Now to talk balance. Obviously, some of the major balance stuff about Season 3 was just the new mechanics, like say Wild Assault and the Deflect Shield, which are pretty big deals, I would say. But what about more balance changes? What about character-specific stuff down the road? So they do directly address this. With the start of the new season, we released a major balance update. For Season 2, we released 2 balance updates throughout the year, 1 major season update and 1 smaller scale mid-season update. Although we expect a similar pace for balance updates in Season 3, meaning there'll definitely be more to come, there may be balance changes released together with additional moves for certain characters. So once again, other characters that don't have new moves just yet will be getting new moves. Now here's the big one. So we have an all-new roadmap for Strive going forward. So August, obviously coming past, right? So we got the Johnny DLC, we got the patch, we got the new mechanics, we got all that stuff. So now December is our next big stop. We'll get our next DLC character. We do not know who it'll be, although we got some polling, right? So we can see who that might be if they follow the polls. So December, new character and minor balance update, and more characters will be getting new special moves. So is it time for Potemkin to get his teleport? I think it is. Now, obviously, later in 2024, because Season 3 is still ongoing, we'll have new characters, we'll have new stages. That's kind of in the far-flung future. They're not worrying about that just yet, it looks like. But now we know for sure December is the next big stop for Guilty Gear Strive. And going on to add this extra clarification, so next update is coming in December 2023. In addition to a new character, this update will introduce the second round of new special moves, this time for 2 characters. There's also a small-scale balance update in store, focused on adjustments for the new mechanics, Wild Assault and Deflect Shield, because people definitely got some opinions, especially on Wild Assault. This will include the aforementioned changes to the input options for some characters' new moves, such as Giovanna's Shave, as well as fixes for issues. Add more details at a later time. And now it's survey time. So I believe it was in September they put out a bunch of surveys. Hey, please fill it out. Please tell us a bunch of stuff. Covers a few topics, not just characters. We also got some demographics. And this one is the least surprising thing in the world to me, but let's go over it. So age demographics. So as you can see here, over half of the chart that we're looking at here is 18 to 25. And that's something I've kind of always known, but it's good to see it represented in that the anime FGC specifically skews a lot younger than other fighting games. Like Street Fighter and Tekken crowds are definitely a lot older than the average anime fighting game player. You're going to find more dads in like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken than you will in like, say, Guilty Gear or Uni or whatever. Like I myself, I turned 40 in September. But hey, that's the beauty of fighting games, right? So all y'all in the 18 to 25 category, don't worry. 20 years from now, you're still going to be here and you're still going to be complaining about XYZ balance patch in whatever fighting game you're playing at the time. So yeah. So yeah, obviously the young folk make up the majority of the Strive player base. 26 to 30 year olds, 15%. And then once we start getting into our 30s, we're starting to age out a little bit. Now, I take this honestly just to mean this and this simply. For a lot of people, a shocking amount of the player base of Strive is their first fighting game. This is their introduction to fighting game. Once again, as we talked about earlier in sales and stuff, right? Strive is wildly, insanely the most popular Guilty Gear ever. The people who talk, about Accent Core and whatever, plus R, they're the old heads. They're like in that 30 plus category. But Strive itself has brought in a lot of new young blood into fighting games that were not playing fighting games before Strive. And hey, that's a very good thing. Don't confuse it. Fresh blood is what fighting games need, especially now, and we're kind of in the new renaissance of fighting games in general. All I can say is for the younger crowd is, hey, make sure to try out other fighting games, right? Try out Street Fighter 6, try out Mortal Kombat 1, try out Tekken 8, try out Project L, try out everything, right? Because fighting games are pretty damn cool. And very few genres make lifers like fighting games do. Like, hey, I started in 1991, and you better believe I'm still here, and I'll still be here in the future as well. So that said, now we got the demographics polling. Let's talk character popularity polls. And as far as the overall global character popularity polls go, to the absolute surprise of nobody, Bridget is leading the pack, and by a very major margin. Let's put it that way, right? Got simple graphs to look at, and the Bridget graph is kind of bigger than everyone else's. So this is all the world put together, kind of mishmashed. And it kind of plays out how you would think. So Soul, Ramthal, Baiken, popular characters. But Potemkin higher up than I would think. He's in the top 10. That's cool. I like it. And it looks like Leo is Mr. Unpopular. So Bridget obviously introduced Season 2. Sort of made an impact. A lot of weird internet culture wars were fought over. And I got caught in the crossfire in a lot of those. Even though I'm just reporting the news. I still remember. Don't think I forgot. That was annoying. But yeah, Bridget, top of the mountain. That's kind of how it was always going to be in a global sense. But what if we break it down by region? So Arc System Works has done exactly that. So North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Middle East, Southeast Asia, Korea, and Japan are all their own regions. And we have the top 10 for every region. And if you want to get super simplistic about it, the East likes Soul more, the West likes Bridget more. The way I look at it is Africa, Korea, and Japan are weak for not liking Potemkin, and every single region is a coward for not having Gold Lewis in their top 10. You can make your own stories out of this listing. The one I do like is the only place where Giovanna shows up is South America, because of course the Brazilian shows up in the top 10 for the South Americans. What I do know is wars always get fought over character popularity polls, so here is your data, so feel free to go to war and go nuts in the comments over it. So they also add, as just an additional note here, despite the increase, the characters' respondents were limited to one choice each. It appears this led to a major shift in placement compared to the previous survey. It might be fun to see how it changes things if we let respondents pick 2 characters next time. Which, fair enough, that's how we get Gold Lewis on this list, because I know all y'all, Gold Lewis is always your second favorite character. And now, we also have, on top of just general character popularity, what about DLC popularity? What characters are you looking forward to? What characters are you willing to spend money on for DLC? And just like before, we have it broken down by region, and ABBA and Slayer and Elfelt are basically the 3 clear winners here. It changes region to region, right? But these are overwhelmingly the picks. Go down, you're going to see some other names that are familiar. You're going to see Dizzy, Robokai, Venom, Jam, all that kind of stuff. But overwhelmingly, ABBA, Slayer, Elfelt, expect any number of these to be the next DLC characters for Season 3 of Strive. Because obviously, that's where the money lies, because this is what people want. And one final piece of polling info here. What are you hoping for in future updates? What basically do you want to see out of the game next that's not just characters and DLC and all that kind of stuff? And basically, it's more or less what we saw from before. Additional special moves, which we're getting, awesome. Additional story content, which sounds like they might be doing here, because we're hoping to find an opportunity to present new story content, aside from arcade mode stories delving into the new characters. Sounds like it may be another additional story mode coming. And then number 2, improvements to online matchmaking, which has always been a sore spot for Strive. And their answer here doesn't necessarily help. As for improvements to the network system, while this is in the plans, due to a variety of circumstances, we don't have any details on this update to share with you. We are currently prioritizing updates to increase network stability and security. We appreciate your continued patience. So basically, this is a non-answer. And when it comes to online stability and just anything to do with online, as you may or may not be well aware of Strive's ongoing issues, it's been difficult to get anything out of Arc System Works on that front. And it doesn't look like that's changing up anytime soon, unfortunately. They're working on it. I'll have to take them at their word, and here's hoping things will work out in the end. And there's a few other little details in there talking about tournaments, all that kind of stuff that doesn't necessarily bear discussing in this video. But if you want to check out the entire developer's backyard, don't worry. Check the video description. I'll have the link for you right there so you can peruse it. These are just the major notes in there. And that said, so good stuff, I guess. Obviously, the next DLC is coming, so now we know for sure December is when we're going to be getting our next DLC character. Knowing Arc System Works, it'll probably later rather than earlier in December. But hey, take what you can get. There'll be some minor balance updates. Not sure what they're gonna be just yet, but we'll find out, I suppose. There'll be some new moves added. 2 new characters, or rather 2 old characters, will be getting new moves. And I do like that. I like seeing just fresh life being added to characters, because balance updates are great. Like, they are legitimately great. I love balance updates. But a new move is... it's hard to articulate, perhaps, but like, it's so much more than just a balance change, right? Like, oh, this is +2 more, this launches a little bit better. Like, it's a whole new way to play the character if there's a new move. So it's going to be very exciting to see what characters are going to be getting them, and obviously going forward with more patches in the future, because they're aiming for everyone to get a new move, right? And other stuff like changes to Wild Assault. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Obviously, DLC characters. Obviously, the money on like Slayer, Elfelt, and Abba, that seems to be what people want. For Slayer, sort of missed the window for Halloween, because as of the time of me recording this, today is Halloween. But if you get them out there, eventually people will be happy, I suppose. But yeah, basically 2.5 years in, Strive is still going strong. Arc System Works, you know, very famous for the mercenary work, doing games for other people, famously Dragon Ball FighterZ, also Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, DNF Duel, all that kind of stuff. You know, making their own game and it being very successful has got to be great for them, right? Especially now that they managed to move millions of copies. Not every game has to be Call of Duty in terms of the numbers, so just happy for them in the end. But that said, my friends, that is the news for now. That is the video. That is your update on Guilty Gear Strive. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Guilty Gear.